beloved. Welcome to another chapter of the book of Sean. It's good to see you. Thank you for tuning in. I'm excited about our show tonight. Every time we gather, we always have a great conversation, and tonight will be absolutely no different. We're going to do some headlines. We're going to do some Ask Dr. Sean, and my dear sister April is here. And we're going to talk to her about her journey, her story. Sometimes it's a struggle to have it all. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's hard work trying to balance your career and your desire for family and love, you know, and she has had to negotiate and navigate her way through that. And she's got a story to tell. There is wisdom in her, because you can't go through something without having wisdom come out. You can't come out of it without having wisdom, rather. But I also believe, and I want to encourage her and inspire her to think about a couple of things, if I understand the story correctly, differently. So I can't wait to talk to April tonight. I'm so glad that you're here, because I got a lot to say. Let's do some headlines right now. So you guys heard that Justice Stephen Breyer is finally leaving the Supreme Court. And when I say finally, I don't mean it because he's old. I mean that he finally realized that you can't throw pearls before swine. He finally understood that a Supreme Court seat is not something you should be handing to Republicans, because you don't know what's going to happen in the course or in the construction of the next Congress. You understand what I'm saying? You can't leave something precious to people who don't appreciate what you're handing them, and who will use what you gave them to make other people miserable. And I'm sure Stephen Breyer wanted to continue to be on the court, but he's learning a lesson that all of us have to learn. You ready for the lesson? Come on, lean in and get this. Sometimes you can't do what you want. Sometimes you got to do what's right. And what's right may not always be what you want, but you still have to do it. We get so caught up in what we want and how we feel and what we think about something that often we forget to ask one of the most important questions. And one of the most important questions we can ask is this the right thing to do? And you know what the right thing to do is. You don't need anybody to tell you that. Your moral compass works. It's in there. You know when you're heading in the wrong direction. That little voice speaks to you. It's in there. And sometimes we got to ask ourselves the difficult question. Is this the right thing to do? How is what I'm about to do going to affect my family and my friends and the people that I say that I love? And that's what Stephen Breyer had to ask himself. How is me staying on this court going to affect the country that I love and the people that I love that live in this country? The wisdom here is very simple. Think about how what you're about to do is going to affect the people you care about before you do it. Because there are way too many people running around here who think about the consequences after the consequences have already been consequential. I'm just trying to say, we got to start thinking about things long before we have to live in the sound and the fury of what we've done. Because, you ready for this? Your happiness is not the only thing that matters. Your happiness is important, but your happiness is not the only thing that matters. It's how is your happiness and what you're doing to make yourself happy, how is it affecting the people that you say you care about? People have proven themselves to be loyal to you. And I'm sure Justice Breyer did not want to leave the court. I'm sure he would like to stay on as long as he possibly can. I'm sure he wouldn't mind dying in the position. I mean, come on, it's a great job. It's a lifetime position. Who wouldn't like that? But he had to think about something bigger. So before you cheat, or before you lie, or before you walk out on your job, or before you walk out on your kids or your family, I want to invite you to think about something bigger, something other than just what you want. Think about how what you want is going to affect the people who have been caring about you and loving you and holding you down. It's always good to follow your heart, but you should only follow your heart insofar as your heart leads you not to hurt other people. When your heart is telling you to hurt other people, when what you want is going to destroy other people, you might want to talk to God. All right, let's move on. Speaking of the Supreme Court, Joe Biden has made it clear that he wants to nominate a black woman to the Supreme Court, and we celebrate that absolutely, right? And there's several amazing candidates that have been floated for the position, and in the media, all of them have proven themselves and continue to prove themselves to be absolutely qualified. And I think they would bring all of these black women whose names have been floated by the administration would bring something important to the deliberations of the court. I heard someone on Fox News say something that only crazy people on Fox News say, and that was, I literally heard this. This was a Fox News host. I won't mention his name because, whatever. Here's what the host said. He said that if Joe Biden wants to nominate a black woman, if he's committed to nominating a black woman, he should just nominate George Floyd's sister. Somebody on Fox News said that Biden should nominate George Floyd's sister since he's committed to nominating a black woman. Okay, beyond this being stupid, it's also rooted in a kind of veiled and visceral racial antipathy. Here's what I mean by that. Joe Biden, should not nominate George Floyd's sister, if for no other reason than certainly because she is not qualified to sit on the Supreme Court. The whole idea of wanting people at the table because they bring diversity is often skewed in such a way that you think that the people who get to sit at the table because we want diversity are not qualified to sit there. All of the names that have been floated are immensely qualified judicial minds. All of these black women have proven themselves both in the academy and in the courtroom. And that's what people don't understand about being intentional about diversity. Affirmative action doesn't mean that you get a seat at the table because you're black. Affirmative action means you get a seat at the table because you live in a nation that ignores your qualifications because you're black. White privilege isn't about the truth that you haven't had any struggles. White folks have struggles like everybody else. But white privilege says your race has not been something you needed to overcome. Your race is not a disadvantage to you. That's what it means. Affirmative action does not mean that the people who are there are not qualified to be there. It means that because they're black, their qualifications are overlooked. Black women are some of the most educated people in this country. Black women are some of the most educated and accomplished people in this country. Let me say it again. Without black women, democracy would have died in America a long time ago. Call the names of the prominent black women: Ella Baker, Fannie Lou Hamer. Go down the list. Rosa Parks. Go down the list. Black women have literally raised democracy in America on their backs. There'd be no Black Lives Matter without black women, first of all. And quite frankly, let's just tell the truth. We'd still have Donald Trump were it not for black women. So thank you, black women. And I can't wait to see you on the court. Let's move on to 3. You guys hear about the story about Peter Bernardo Spencer? This is an interesting story. So Peter Bernardo Spencer, that guy right there, a Jamaican-born immigrant who lived in Pittsburgh, he was shot 9 times by a coworker after staying with him in a rural cabin. The story goes something like this. His fiancée dropped him off to spend the weekend with his coworker, and then later on, Peter's body was found on the lawn after being shot 9 times. Did you get that? So he goes to spend the weekend or whatever with his coworker. She drops him off at the cabin, and the next thing she knows, his body is laying on the lawn after being shot 9 times. And this ought to be a very simple story. This ought to be a simple story of man goes to cabin, he enters cabin, stays in cabin, gets shot in cabin, killed in cabin, lays outside of cabin. Police come to cabin, arrest the man who was in the cabin, the coworker, and this story should be over. But it's not over because this man went to this cabin, was shot 9 times, died on the lawn, and the only other person there has not been arrested. And no charges have been brought. That's why we're talking about this. Okay? How do you go to a cabin when there's only 2 people in the cabin? You know what I'm saying? If I come to your house and I spend time at your house and the next thing anybody knows, I'm dead in front of your house and it was just me and you at the house, logic would dictate that you had something to do with it. Because, let me tell you why. Because you can't shoot yourself 9 times. Oh my God. And I don't care if the coworker was black or white or Asian or polka dot. I don't care what color the coworker is. If I go to your house and I end up dead on your front lawn and you and I were the only 2 people there, you need to be arrested. Tragically, the murderer of Peter has not been arrested. And this happened on December 12th of 2021. We're in the last day of January 2022. I don't know what authorities are saying or what reasons they're giving for not having this man arrested or whoever this guy is, his coworker. But let me just tell you something. There's a little thing called common sense, and people need to practice it. Common sense is a very important asset, and it's why God gave it to us. because some things are not that complicated. Man ends up dead on your lawn and it's just you and him there. What else do we need to know? What else is there to say? There's literally nobody else there but you and him. I'm not sure what the police are trying to do to make this complex, to revel in the complexity of this rather. But let me give you some advice. You ready for this? Watch people who try to use complexity to avoid accountability. There's a lot of people in your life who will use complexity to avoid accountability. And sometimes you got to look at people in their eye and say to them, look, a lie is a lie, and the truth is the truth, and what you told was not the truth. We call that a lie. Sometimes you got to tell people straight up and down. Don't try to muddy the waters. Don't try to be all dramatic and extra. I know what you did, and that's exactly what you've done. I'm hoping the family of Peter get some justice in this, and you guys make sure that you keep your eye on this story. Because a black man ended up dead, shot 9 times on the lawn of a rural cabin of his white co-worker, and nobody's been arrested. Let's move on. It's my last one. I couldn't wait to do this one. Then I'm going to talk to April, because this story is going to shock and amaze you, all right? You ready for this? Okay, I saw this one over the weekend, and I couldn't wait to bring this to you people. You ready? So astronomers have found some celestial object out in the sky that's been releasing bursts of energy, and it's unlike anything that they've ever seen before. I will let that sink in. So there's some incredibly bright object out there that's been releasing radio waves, and they don't know what it is. And it releases waves for a minute once every 18 minutes. Okay, I really think we should be talking about this a little more, okay? I know all of y'all are happy about Rihanna, baby. What's the boyfriend's name? Rocky, A$AP Rocky. I know y'all happy about Rihanna. Congratulations to A$AP Rocky and Rihanna. But I think this story is a little more important than what's going on in Rihanna's belly. There's some object out there releasing energy and waves, and they don't know what it is. I think we should be concerned about this, people, okay? I really think somebody in the media, let it be me, should say there's something going on. I'm just saying, man. Okay, here's my question. What the hell is going on up there that they don't know where these waves are coming from and why it's emitting this light? Now, scientists think that it might be the remnants of a collapsed star. But what if it ain't? Okay? What if it's not that? You listen, you think we got problems now? You think we got difficulties now? Let there be something flying around up there in space that don't like us. All these little problems we got will pale in comparison to whatever the hell is flying around up there that don't like us, okay? But here's the point I'm trying to make. We become so trivial and so banal and so completely detached from significant things that we literally, we become myopic and small, and we live with our heads down, caught up in the granular things of life that ultimately don't matter. There's so many people that I know that are forgotten kings of insignificant mountains, and they're totally fine with that. And they miss the fact that there's something up there emitting light and radio waves, and we don't know what it is. Let me ask you a question. Why is it that we've forgotten about all the big considerations, like what if this planet falls apart? Or like, what if we end up under threat from something in space? Or like, what if something big happened to hit this planet? I bet that would be a lot more pressing than what you're going to make for dinner. Here's my point. Don't get so lost up in your day, in the details of your day, in the drama and the tragedies of your day, that you forget that there's something bigger than today. Don't ever get so lost up in how you feel about the transactions of life that you forget this fundamental truth. Your destiny, it's a lot bigger than your day. And when you can't celebrate the details of the day, go ahead and shout about your destiny. Because it abides, it lives, it's yours. And here's the truth. You can have a bad day and still have a great future. You hear what I'm saying to you? I don't know what your day was like. I don't know what you've been dealing with today. I don't know what you've been suffering through. But here's what I know for sure, that the details of this day cannot cancel the truth, that tomorrow might be yours. Let's take a break. I'm going to talk to April when we get back. I can't wait to talk to her. Love, professional life. We're all trying to balance it. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. So how do you handle it when you got a lot to handle, right? And many of us, when you get to a certain stage of your life, you begin to think about all the things you've done, and you begin to think about all the things that you have not been able to do yet. And feelings and emotions are attached to that. I wonder if I could ask you directly, I'm talking about you, if I could ask you directly, what are the things that you're most proud of and what are the things that you regret? Well, that's what tonight's conversation is about. It's about dealing with the emotions that come along with the decisions that we've made to do a certain thing, to accomplish a certain thing, to be a certain kind of person. My dear sister tonight, April Love, is here. Welcome to the show. April Love. Hey, April.
Hi, how are you, Dr. Sean?
I'm absolutely amazing today. I'm so glad to have you. Thank you for taking the time to do this.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, yes, yes. So before we get into the details of the twists and turns, right, of your remarkable life, let's do some offhanded kind of just me asking you random stuff, because I just like to get to know, the heart and the soul of the person. Tell me something you know for sure. What do you know for sure?
I know for sure, without a shadow of a doubt, that God loves me, that God favors me. I've been kept for so long, in spite of me, in spite of decisions, in spite of my circumstances. I'm just blessed and a very, very favored girl.
I love that. I love that. Tell me your most favorite thing to do, or your favorite thing to do when you were a kid.
Oh, when I was a kid, oh my God. It was something I looked forward to. They had this thing every summer, this reading club at the library. And they did it also kind of the end of the year towards Christmas. And I was always trying to win. I couldn't check out about a certain amount of books with my card. So I would kind of like get my mom to check out books on her card. And I would just read and read and read. So I really enjoyed being competitive. I was always a reader, but I was competitive because you got prizes for the more books that you read. So it was something I really looked forward to.
Well, that's interesting. So you're a reader. You love to read.
I say I'm an analog girl in a digital world because I like a physical book. I have 2 bookshelves in my home. I love books. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm with you. I need a book in my hand. I got some on my phone.
Me too.
Yeah, but I like to write in it on the margins, all of that.
Right.
So tell me this: who as you look over the great scope of your life, right, from where you are now to where you've come, looking back to where you've come from, who's been your biggest supporter?
Who's been my biggest supporter? Ooh, it's like a tie because I'm adopted, and my mom, the only one I know, was the biggest supporter. And then when she actually transitioned, passed away, went to her heavenly home, I had a couple moms that stepped in. So it's almost like it happened like she set it up, you know what I mean? But nobody but her, like she was the biggest. Like when she passed, I was like, oh my God, I just had to, I was teetering on I was just like, nobody's gonna ever love me like that. So when other people stepped up, it was amazing. But my mom, she was the one.
I love that. I love that. How long ago did she pass, if you don't mind me asking?
No, she passed in 2000. Oh my God, 2006. It feels like, yeah, 2006. I had her for a very long time. So I'm grateful.
No, that's a blessing. It is. Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that. I can relate to that. So let's put some rub on this road. You ready? I'm gonna get us into this by asking this very simple question, and you give me everything that comes up, everything that comes in your spirit. Give it to me. What has been thus far your biggest regret?
Oh my God, we're getting deep so quick. I would say not being a mom, not being a mother. Mm-hmm. It has to be the big one.
I'm just looking at your face. I'm just studying when you say it. Yeah, I see the emotion. Tell me what you're feeling.
I'm feeling that I'm getting way too deep and I'm not even 5 minutes into your show. But it's kind of like an okay and accepted thing now, though. That's really why I'm on the show, getting into the whole thing of success on your own terms, and it's okay to just live your life, be this CEO and this boss. But hey, I hear you, but I still have that yearning, and I have been a mother figure, and I'm still a mother figure in my godchildren and nieces' lives and things of that nature, but it's not the same, at least not for me.
Yeah, yeah.
The girls that are okay with it, I'm 100 for you, but I'm not quite there.
Yeah, no, listen. I mean, that's what we're here for, right? Because today you are speaking for. Let me just empower you for a second, right? Because I know you're feeling a little vulnerable,
right?
But
very.
But that's okay. That's okay. First of all, you're safe, all right? You're in good hands, and you're in the hands of someone who honors what you're saying, and who values what you're saying. And I really believe that you are representing so many people, right? Who find themselves in a similar situation. And that's why, I sort of wanted to go there, because listen, there's so many people who want to say exactly what you just said. They just don't have a platform to say it. And that is, yes, I got the job, and yes, I got the house, and yes, I got the car, but I wish I had this.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So listen, I know you told me that you were adopted, and I'm wondering, how do you think that plays into? First of all, I was adopted too. So you're talking to someone. Yeah, you're talking to someone who knows this journey.
Wow.
How do you think being adopted has played into your desire or the regret that you feel to have a family?
To be completely transparent, I wasn't necessarily like fully abreast of all the adoption details. Yeah, I was adopted within my family, so it wasn't really like something that I knew initially. It wasn't like open, So in my subconscious, which is really kind of a little complicated to explain, I really wasn't. I think of. I didn't really see the value in family, if that makes sense. I was more so concerned about, it's me. So I got to figure out me, and I got to, give me the best life possible. And the years kept passing. And I mean, and I've always been like in relationships, but it wasn't like I was so focused on, dating to get to marriage, even though, I'm in the church and I hear like, this is how it's supposed to be. It's covenant. I think without even really knowing that that's what was going on, and when I really, came to terms with the whole adoption and found out more information about, how I was, how that all came about, it almost kind of like did the opposite and made me not necessarily be so driven to have a family, but I was more so driven to have the life I felt I deserved. Yes. The life, I felt like it was a must that, my circumstances weren't the best. It wasn't like, they planned me. It wasn't like I was so special that it's like, they went out of their way to, their baby girl is this, that, and the other. Even though I had that with my family that, raised me, I did not feel like, I felt it was, I think, a rejection kind of thing. So then I was like, oh, so I'm going to give myself the best life possible. And I guess to a certain extent, it kind of made me a little bit selfish, in the sense of so adamant about me excelling, and I didn't see it as an us. I didn't work towards me and my husband and my kids. It was more so, if that comes, that comes. But the priority was me. I tried to make that my priority, because I felt like I wasn't my mother's priority, if you understand.
Yeah, listen, I don't experience that as selfishness. I don't even hear that as being selfish. I hear that as being, no, I hear it as being exactly where you left off. And that was, after spending a part of your life not being the priority, you made yourself the priority, which is what I tell people to do all the time. And so listen, I want you to put your cape on in this little section right here, because I want people to understand what you mean by that. So tell everybody what you do, and tell everybody just generally what you do, and tell everybody, because you are very accomplished at what you do. So tell everybody what you do and some of the things you're most proud of that you've done.
Nice. Well, I'm a publicist by trade. I am a CEO of 2 companies. I have a production company, Vanguard Creative, that I have production services, and I've worked with just about every award show, the BET Awards, BET Honors, BET Hip Hop. I've worked on Grammys, Stellars. I recently am in the process of doing a deal with the company Swirl Films to kind of move into scripted and feature film. But from a publicity perspective, I'm really proud of, everything from franchises, like from inception, like with Real Housewives of Atlanta. It's still around, so it was a success. Just so many things. Artists that I've worked with. I'm working with an artist now that I'm working with from inception, and I'm so proud of her on Atlantic Records. Her name is Raish. So being able to really like split myself in so many different directions, but all in the creative space of television and film and music. And now I'm podcasting. I just launched Just Breathe, my podcast. So I'm able to start to really, I just want to, even with my clients that I've had over the years, my assistants have always said, you're like a therapist. Why do you get so, entrenched with them? But I'm really proud of that. The relationships I've built, people that I've worked with 10, 15 years ago, still being a part of their lives, I've had one of them call me when their son was, in ICU, come and pray for him, so I'm really proud of the person that I've been in my career.
Yeah, listen. And that's why I wanted you to share that. Because I wanted people to know that you have been committed to something. You've been committed to building your life and your profession and your career, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I mean that is a choice that people make, and that is an honorable decision, right? To sort of build a legacy, but there are people tonight who are going to ask this question, right? And I'm going to ask it to you. Why do you think you were not capable or able, or even aware of doing both, of having a great career and having a great family?
Oof. They will ask that, won't they? I don't think that I didn't feel like I was capable, but I don't think that I necessarily took the steps to really cultivate my relationships to a certain extent, because I was more so like, I don't have time for this. You know what I'm saying? And it takes work, you know what I mean? Like even when, developing shows and things that I do now, I will do blood sweat. I will do what I have to do for it. But when I was in these relationships that could have become, marriage potential, I just didn't give it my all. And I cannot tell you per se in that moment. I can tell you now because I am in a long-term relationship, and I feel, we are working towards that. No one will tell me when I have to do that. I'm not on anybody's timeline, but I am putting my all into it.
Good.
And in the
Good. No, stop. April, stop there because I got to take a break. But that's what I wanted to hear. That's what I wanted to hear. Because when we come back, what I want to do, I got a couple more questions to ask you, but what I really want to do is get a sense of where you are now, right? Where you are now. Are you ready now to make some different decisions? And here's what I say to people all the time. Put the camera on me. Here's what I say to people all the time. Never beat yourself up because of what you decided to do at one stage of your life. That's what you did, and it's done. What you do now should be the focus of what you're going to do. You follow what I'm saying? So when we come back, I want to talk to April about what is she willing to change and sacrifice to have it now. Because just because you didn't have it 5 years ago, don't mean you can't have it tomorrow. You feel what I'm saying? Or you feel what I'm saying? Come back. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. I'm talking to April Love, and we've been talking about just her journey as it relates to being an accomplished professional, but also being a black woman who would like to have at some point a family, and the negotiations and the deductions and the choices that a black woman has to make, that all of us have to make when you're trying to decide what to do when at this stage of your life. April, so listen, before we left, I promised that I would ask you and really by extension everybody else. I know as you've given it to me tonight, I know what the journey has been, right? I know. And first of all, let me say this to you, because let me say this to you. Look at me, April. Let me say this to you. No, you should never have had to make those negotiations, right? In my opinion, we should be able to have great professional lives and great family lives. And it's a tragedy in this society, in Western culture, that people have to make those sort of deductions, right? So first, I just want to affirm you with that, right? That you should have never been in that position. But let me ask you, having said that, I know that you mentioned before we took our break that you might be in a different space, a different spirit, a different psychology about you.
Yes.
Say more about that. Are you more willing now to make some changes and some choices that will allow you to give your heart to have the family you want?
I am. That feels good to say it. I am. I have moved that to the forefront of my list of goals, and I'm building out everything around that. And that has meant saying, passing on opportunities because I really want to be vested in this part of my life. Am I gonna, sacrifice my career? No, I'm just gonna have to adjust it accordingly. And I'm blessed to have, now be in the position as the boss to say, hey, I'm going to give myself time off. I am going to, and I am really, really, really feeling strongly drawn to adoption myself, to adopting. So I'm going to.
No, I love that. Tell me, what was the moment that changed things for you?
Me, to be quite honest, and I mean, I don't want that to be the moment that changes everybody, but I was actually diagnosed with breast cancer. And it was in, oh my gosh, I had just launched the second company, had brought on a full chief of staff. I had this supervision for what the second part of my life and that sort of thing. And it was just like coming to a screeching halt. So I had no choice but to say, hey, get my priorities in order. And that's where I've been. I mean, I'm on the other side of it now. I'm on the other side, and I'm grateful. And it just changed my perspective in so many ways. Like I even look at my work accomplishments differently. Everything I do, and I launched my own awards show, Pink Awards, that I've started to do annually, and it's inspired by people who are change agents. Everything I do has purpose. Everyone I work with, you know what I mean? It has to resonate with me on a deeper level. So, I mean, everything shifted, Everybody I think has that moment. It doesn't have to be as drastic as that. It could be whatever, relocation or, job loss or divorce, whatever. But it's always at that moment. And either you can change the trajectory of your life or you can just be stuck. And I was determined. Like they have, even me in treatment, they have pictures of me with my laptop, and I was just getting so many downloads, and I just came out a different person. And it's
Yeah,
and
yeah.
every year it's been a different goal. Now this past year is when it's come, okay, I really, I'm thinking about the adoption, even to the point that I'm talking to my significant other about it, and he, because he has children, and it's just an openness that I'm being honest about what I need at this point in my life.
I love that. No, I love that. I hope you feel the affirmation and the celebration I'm trying to give. If you were in the studio with me, listen,
Mhm.
we you and I be high fiving and hugging right now because I
I
just,
need all that,
yeah,
all that.
and I'm throwing it at you. I'm giving it to you because I love the notion that after a difficult journey, right, after going through the ups and downs, that
Yeah,
you came out with clarity. You came out with a different sense of priorities and who you are, and
yeah,
to me that's beautiful. I mean, I hate that it had to be cancer, right? But you
right.
but you came out 10 times better than how you went in. Would you agree with that?
Oh, 100, 1000%. Yeah. It came to take my life, but it saved my life. So,
That's rich. That's
mhm.
rich. And so I hear you talking about adoption, and I hear you
Yeah.
talking about. This is what I love about this conversation is that you embody for me people who are willing to adjust, to change, to transform, right? Because I'm sure for most of your life, even though you were adopted, when you thought of family, you thought of biological children. Did I get that right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Even though I was adopted, it was just like, it's just a natural thing to do. You just da 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 and you da 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 have the babies. They go, they go to prom and they go to homecoming and that was it. That was
Wait,
just,
wait, wait,
everybody.
wait, wait. First of all, I love da 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 da. you,
Pre-K, da da
you,
da
you
da.
hear that two
Elementary.
three? You da 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 with da 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 da.
Yeah.
But you're right, right? Most of the time, that's how we come out thinking, right? That you need to. But now you're at a place now where you realize what's your new wisdom about family? Because I sense something in you.
Oh my God. My wisdom about family is family, you're blessed to have a family, however it looks. This unconditional love can be from someone who you birthed or someone who birthed you, or somebody who was that covenant that God sent this person to you. Like when my mom passed, the beautiful women and the beautiful family that was sent to me, you know, I felt like my mom was like, oh yeah, go take care of my baby, you know, and that's family. Like I love the whole thing of family, you know, friends that become family, because that's real to me. You know, I have deep connections with my friends. I have, you know, I call them sisters and brothers, and you know, and even like a cousin. Like, you know, family is what you make it, and you have to embrace that. You know, that's our new normal anyway. You know, you can't dictate who you're going to be born to and when you're going to be born, but you can definitely make sound decisions about who's going to be a part of your life and who takes that position in your heart, and that is family to me.
I love all of that. Listen, that's rich, that's thoughtful, and it's profound. And so let me give you that. I got to take this break before they start yelling at me. But here's the last thing I want to give you, just to inspire you farther rather, on this journey. And here it is. So when my mom adopted me, she was in her 50s. She was well into her 50s. I mean, probably kicking the back door out the 50s. And she found me after being left in a garbage can.
Oh.
And little did she know that the baby she pulled out of the garbage can in her 50s, when all her friends told her, you too old to be dealing with some infant baby. Little did she know that the garbage can kid would be on TV.
Right.
And I came to tell you that no matter what people may be saying to you, what you may love in this process, the child that you may love in this process might well change the world.
Ooh, you better take me out, Dr.
Sean. Listen.
Oh my God.
Listen. So April, be encouraged, okay?
Thank you. Thank you for that.
No, it's my pleasure. Listen, I got to take this break. Thank you for coming on, April. When we come back, my pleasure. When we come back, we're going to do some Ask Dr. Sean right after this. Welcome back, everybody. So you guys always send me great videos, and I love the time that I get to share with you with Ask Dr. Sean. So let's do some Ask Dr. Sean. Check out the video sent to me by my brother, David.
Hello, Dr. Sean. My name is Dali from Atlanta, and I need some advice. My friend just started dating a guy, and my brother just informed me that he was in prison recently. Should I let my best friend know that I know this information?
Yes, you should let all invested parties know right away, and I'll tell you why. Because you don't know. I'm assuming you don't know why the person was in prison. You don't know what they were in prison for. But that should be something that people disclose themselves, especially if, you know, you're moving to the place where you're getting married. You know what I'm saying? So if I'm just dating you and you were in prison for whatever and we just sort of met, that's probably not a good place to start that conversation off, right? You don't meet people and say, oh, by the way, you know, I was in jail or prison. But if we proceeded to the place where we're engaged and you're talking about fiancés and talking about getting married, I should know that. I should have all the relevant information that I need to be empowered with to make a relevant decision about my life with you. And so if the person that your friend or cousin, I forget which one you said, happens to be, if the person you care about is dealing with someone that did not give them that information, then you need to give it to them. Because you need to help them understand that they may be dealing with someone who has a challenge with the truth, or who are challenged as it relates to being authentic and transparent. You don't want to be married to somebody who flourishes and relishes in secrets. You don't want to spend the rest of your life with somebody who decides and deciphers and dices and cuts up the parts of the story that they want you to have. That's a recipe for a lot of frustration and ultimately a recipe for divorce and separation. Normally I tell people to mind their business, you know what I'm saying? But I think in this case, you want to make sure that your loved one, the person that you care about, has all the relevant information. Now here's what you need to do. Once you give them the information, your job is to step out of it. That's the hard part for you. When you give the information, you step right on out, because now they know what they need to know and it's their decision, not yours. Okay? So don't use this information that you're about to give as a way to and it's not an invitation for you to proliferate your opinions. No. She has to, or he, whoever it is, has to discover what this journey will be for them, and they get to make their own decisions, even if that decision isn't one that you would choose. But I would definitely recommend that you give your loved one all the information. And then I would kind of ask on my way out the door, why do you think that he or she didn't tell you this before I had to? All right, let's do another question. Someone emailed me this question. My cousin's fiance keeps on coming on to me. There's a lot of things going on in marriages today, 2-3. She wants me to go wedding dress shopping with her, and I plan to use that opportunity to tell her the truth about her future husband. Should I tell her the truth or mind my own business? Okay, here we go again. Not only should you tell her the truth, you might want to bring some receipts. Here's what I mean by that. It's going to be hard for her to believe that the person she's about to marry and going out with you to buy a wedding dress for is hitting on you. It's going to be hard to believe it. And I'm actively suggesting that, you know, if this person hits on you, if they do it via email or text, you know what I'm saying, or however, on social media, that you might want to bring the receipts with you. Because I think your friend's going to need some receipts. You should absolutely say something. You hear me? There's no way in the world you want your friend to be married to somebody who would hit on you. You know how crazy that is? First of all, this is 2-3, tell me if you agree with this. This little guy code. Homeboy is reckless. I mean, he's reckless. I understand that, you know, you got a woman fetish. You like the sisters. I got it. Hey, no problem with that. But you reckless, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's right. The 2-3 said you too close to home, bro. What you doing? I mean, what? I mean, he's reckless. All right? First of all, let me just clean up 2-3's thought. It's immoral for you to be getting married to somebody and being with somebody else. You should not be doing that. Okay? I got to help 2-3. He's like, it's too close. That's the problem. But the problem is that you're doing it and that it's too close. Okay? But here's the other thing. You are dealing with someone, your friend is dealing with someone who is lying, who is reckless, who's not honest, and they're not transparent. You better believe you need to open your mouth and say something. Here's my rule of thumb. I say this to you guys all the time. You should do for your friends and in the direction of your friends, on behest of your friends, on behalf of your friends, those things that you would want done for you. And if you would want to know that, you know, that your fiance was out there hitting on one of your friends who's in your wedding, then you absolutely should say something. Okay? And you should anticipate the fallout. You should anticipate him to be furious. You should anticipate her to receive the information, maybe not to receive the information. You might even anticipate her to ignore the information. Some people are so committed to the wedding that they could care less about what happens in the marriage because it's all for performance. They want to be insta-perfect. You know what I'm saying? They want to be able to post how wonderful it is. You should be prepared for a lot of scenarios. But the one thing you should not be prepared to do is to shirk, is to remove yourself from your moral responsibility. And your moral responsibility is to call a thing, to tell the truth. Because ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. We'll be right back with more Ask Dr. Sean right after this. Welcome back, everybody. So 2-3 and I were talking about that last question over the break, and we both agree, we don't often agree on much, but we both agree that if you are cheating on your fiance with somebody in the wedding party, the ultimate question is this, right? We agree on that. Why are you getting married? Like, why are you even getting married if you're cheating on your fiance with someone in the bridal party? Sir, you should not be getting married, okay? I know this person may not be watching because they just did the question, but for everybody watching out there who cheating on your fiance with somebody in the wedding party, you should not be getting married, okay? You're not ready for marriage. And it's okay not to be ready. You agree? It's okay not to be ready. Just own where you are and be able to say, you know what? I ain't ready for this because the maid of honor got a big behind, and I can't control myself in the presence of that. Okay? And so don't get married. Okay? I would much rather you stop something than for you to allow something to go forward and you end up ruining somebody's life because you didn't have the courage to stop yourself from doing what you knew you weren't ready to accomplish. Yeah, listen, I just said something. I could drop the mic and walk off right now because there are a lot of people out there rushing into things, and they realize in the middle of the rush, I ain't ready for this. But they don't have the courage to say, you know what? I need to change directions. Anyway, let's do some Ask Dr. Sean. Play the bumper. My guys, Hailey and Devon. I love those guys. They're like my little nephews. All right, we got a video submission sent in by Maya. Let's take a submission. We got a video sent in by Maya. Let's watch it.
Hi, Dr. Sean. My name is Maya from Atlanta, and I need your advice. So I am engaged, and my fiance's mom has a key to his apartment. She comes over unannounced. She's also caught us having sex, and I've asked him to talk to her about it, but he refuses. So should I talk to her about it or no?
Okay, she said his mother has the key. Okay, I'm gonna make sure I got that. Woo! Wait, so his mama caught y'all having sex? I mean, that's awkward. You know what I'm saying? First of all, I would just be devastated. Okay, wait a minute. Well, let me get this right. So his mama caught y'all having sex, and he did not immediately take the key? Something about that don't sound right. That ain't kosher. That ain't kosher. That ain't halal. I don't know what's going on with that. You know what I'm saying? Okay, your first conversation needs to be with him about that. How is it that your mama catches us having sex and you're not revolted so much that you would take the key from your mama? Why does your mama still have a key? What else needs to happen? That's my question. What else needs to happen? What else does your mama need to catch us doing? Before you decide that she should probably not have a key. All right? But this is a wonderful opportunity because I like to find opportunities in challenging situations. This is a wonderful opportunity for you guys to have a conversation about boundaries, right? What are the boundaries? What are the things we're willing to admit, let happen, not let happen? What are the borders of our relationship as it relates to extended family, mothers, cousins, uncles, whomever? This is a wonderful chance for you guys to come up with some clear agreements and for you to test his character to see if he lives up to what he says he's going to do. This is really an opportunity. I know you can get, normally the thing is to get mad. After you get mad and calm down, see the opportunity in this, because the opportunity now is to have a real conversation about something you already didn't like. Isn't it wonderful how life does that? Life will give you a chance to have real conversation to correct some stuff you didn't have the right ingredients to correct when you started. Now, she done walked in and caught you having sex. Oh, that's grounds for a discussion. So, here we go. Make sure you're clear. Make sure you're consistent. Make sure you listen, right? But also make sure that whatever you agree to is what you agree that you can live with. Don't agree to things that you can't live with. And then, like I said before, this is an opportunity for you to test his character. Yeah. Because now he has to come out of that conversation and confront his mother with the new boundaries and borders that the two of you established together. Let's see if he has the courage to do it. Because if he can't do this now, I promise you, he won't be able to do it 5 years from now. And then wait till you have kids and her grandkids, nip this in the bud. And ultimately, the young man may prove himself unworthy or incapable of respecting what he said or creating the proper boundaries for you to be in his life the way you would like. All right, let's do one more. Somebody emailed me this. I've been a pastor for 12 years. During the pandemic, my congregation decreased by 50%, and it's been a struggle to get my old members to come back as well as attract new members. There are days that I think about giving up and closing the church. How do I keep my faith intact while keeping the church doors open? Well, listen, I can't answer part of this question because part of this question is between you and God. You follow what I'm saying? You're a pastor, so you understand quite clearly the point that I'm making. And that is that you have to ask the one that you ultimately work for whether or not you want to continue in this line of work. You've got to pray and seek God and see whether or not you're supposed to be doing this work here. Sometimes things go wrong, and it's an opportunity. There are three reasons why things fall apart. Sometimes things fall apart because they never should have started in the first place. Sometimes things fall apart so that life can prove to you that you can live without them. And sometimes things fall apart so that after they fall apart, life will show you that there's life after death. You got to decide which one you're in. And churches are going through this, you know, on a mass level where people are not coming back to church. So I would just say to you, encourage your heart, encourage your soul, your spirit. And now you have to believe all the sermons that you've been preaching. Now you got to really absorb all the scriptures you've been teaching. You got to actually now listen to all those songs the choir has been singing all that time, because now you need it. And that's the beauty of the moment you find yourself in. I don't know if you should go. I don't know if you should stay. I don't know if you should close the doors. I don't know how you convince people who don't want to be in church to be back in church. I don't know how you do none of that. But I know who does know, and you know him too. So spend a little time with your Creator. That's where the answers are. Anyway, thank you for sending me your questions tonight. Thank you, April, for your amazing witness. Thank all of you for watching. I had a great time tonight, people. 2, 3, and I. We'll be back on Wednesday, won't we? We'll be back on Wednesday, people. Y'all be good to each other. And guess what? I love you. How about that?